Good morning, students. Today we will start Chapter 3 Nationalism in India of Class 10th History. Contents are differing stands within the movement in the towns, rebellion in the countryside, Swaraj in the plantations. Differing stands within the movement. The non-cooperation Khilafat movement began in January 1921. Various social groups participated in this movement, each with its own specific aspiration. All of them responded to the call of Swaraj, but the term meant different things to different people. The movement in the towns. The movement started with middle class participation in the cities. Thousands of students left government controlled schools and colleges. Headmasters and teachers resigned and lawyers gave up their legal practices. The council elections were boycotted in most provinces except Madras, where the Justice Party, the party of the non-Brahmins, felt that entering the council was one way of gaining some power, something that usually only Brahmins had access to. The effects of non-cooperation on the economic front were more dramatic. Foreign goods were boycotted, liquor shops picketed, and foreign clothes burned in the huge bonfires. The import of foreign clothes halted between 1921 and 1922, its value dropping from rupees 102 crores to rupees 57 crores. In many places, merchants and traders refused to trade in foreign goods or finance foreign trade. As the boycott movement spread, people began discarding imported clothes and wearing only Indian ones. Production of Indian textile mills and handlooms went up. Effects of the movement. The movement in the cities gradually slowed down for a variety of reasons. Khadi cloth was often more expensive than mass-produced mill cloth, and poor people could not afford to buy it. How then could they boycott mill cloth for too long? Similarly, the boycott of British institutions posed a problem. For the movement to be successful, alternative Indian institutions had to be set up so that they could be used in place of the British ones. These were slow to come up, so students and teachers began trickling back to government schools and lawyers joined back work in government courts. Rebellion in the countryside. From the cities, the non-cooperation movement spread to the countryside. It drew into its fold the struggles of peasants and tribes, which were developing in different parts of India in the years after the wars. In Earth, peasants were led by Baba Ramchandra, a sannyasi who had earlier been to Fiji as an indenture. Indenture means on the contract basis, laborer. The movement here was against talukadars and landlords who demanded from peasants exorbitantly high rents. Exorbitantly means unlimited, and a variety of other issues. Peasants had to do bega and work at landlords' farms without any payment. As a tenants, they had no security of tenure, being regularly evicted so that they could acquire no right over the leased lands. The peasants' movement demanded reduction of revenue, abolition of bega, and social boycott of oppressive landlords. In many places, nai, dhobi, bands were organized by panchayats to deprive landlords of the services of even barbers and washermen. In June 1920, Jawaharlal Nehru began going around the village in Awadh, talking to the villagers and trying to understand their grievances. Their grievances means their problems. By October, the Awadh Kisan Sabha was set up headed by Jawaharlal Nehru, Baba Ramchandra and a few others. Within a month, over 300 branches had been set up in towns and villages around the region. So, when the non cooperation movement began the following year, the effort of the Congress was to integrate the Awadh peasant struggle into the wide struggle. As the movement spread, the houses of talukdars and merchants were tagged, and bazaars were looted, and grain hoards were taken over. Tribal peasants. Tribal peasants interpreted the message of Mahatma Gandhi and the idea of Swaraj in yet another way. In the Gooden Hills of Andhra Pradesh, for example, a militant guerrilla movement spread in the early 1920s, not a form of struggle that the Congress could approve. Here, as in other forest regions, the colonial government had closed large forest area, preventing people from entering the forest to graze their cattle or to collect fuel, wood, and fruits. This enraged the hill people. Not only were their livelihoods affected, but they felt traditional rights were being denied. When the government began forcing them to contribute bigger for road building, the hill people were revolted. The person who came to lead was Alaru Sitaram Raju, claimed that he had a variety of special powers. He could make correct astrological predictions and heal people, and he could survive even bullet shots. Captivated by Raju, the rebels proclaimed that he was an incarnation. Here, incarnation means messengers of God. Raju talked of the greatness of Mahatma Gandhi, but at the same time, he asserted that India could be liberated only by the use of force, not non-violence. The Gooden rebels attacked police station, attempted to kill British officials, and carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving Swaraj. Raju was captured and executed in 1924 and over time became a folk hero. Swaraj in the plantations. Workers too had their own understanding of Mahatma Gandhi and the Swaraj. For plantation workers in Assam, freedom meant the right to move freely in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed, and it meant retaining a link with the village from which they had come. Under the Inland Immigration Act of 1859, plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea gardens without permission, and in fact, they were rarely given such permission. When they heard of the non cooperation movement, thousands of workers defied the authorities, left the plantations, and headed home. They believed that Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their own villages. They, however, never reached their destination, stranded on the way by a railway and steamer's strike. They were caught by the police and brutally beaten up. They interpreted the term Swaraj in their own way, imagining it to be a time when all sufferings and all troubles would be over. Thank you.